Hey guys, thanks for watching my channel today. My name's Don, and my channel's all about bass fishing and what it's like to do that type of fishing when you're in your 70s and beyond. Today I want to talk about a subject that's really pisses me off, and it probably will bother you as well. Just happened to be down at one of our lakes here recently, one of the smaller lakes in the area that I live. And I was just shocked by all the trash. I mean, there were beer bottles, there were trash, McDonald's bags. What amazed me is there was actually a small rack and like a box with a lid on it, and it said, "Put your trash in here." And right below it was a big empty bag from McDonald's. And I thought, how lazy can you be? Who's going to pick this stuff up? I'm sure somebody does, or it'd be much worse than it is, but it's everywhere you look. And it's not only along the lake, it's in the lake. I walked along the shoreline a little bit, and there's bottles, a lot of plastics, a lot of plastic water bottles, straws, sandwich wrappers, lure packages, even plastic worms that have floated into the shoreline. I got to tell you, this is a disgrace, folks. This is horrible. To think that we're doing this to our own water, to the water that we enjoy so much, the water we enjoy fishing on. So, anyway, I was thinking about it on my way home, and I thought, here's a solution. And I doubt that this will ever fly, but this would be my solution. I think that we should obviously target some of these litterers and try to get them to stop littering. Maybe the easiest way to stop them is not just a fine, but make them go out and start picking up trash. Maybe if they've done that a few times, they'll kind of learn from it. But more importantly, I want to keep our waterways clean. And, some of the places that I fish, they have cleanup days, which, I applaud them for doing it. I know one group down here, I think it's called the Ridge Rangers. I think they have a cleanup day every year where they go out to one of the lakes and they pick up all the trash. And my God, I mean, when they have these days, and not just them, but other groups, I mean, they find everything. They'll find old toilet seats and big trash bags. And, well, if you can imagine, trash is trash, but they'll find it. And it's a good thing. It's a great cause. But when you do it once a year, it's probably not enough. I think we all have to take a more active part in keeping our lakes clean. But here's a suggestion. Like I say, it probably won't fly, but it's a thought. We all tend to use our boat ramps. And in some areas, you pay to play. You don't just go put your boat in, you pay to put your boat in. And in some lakes, only a certain number of boats can even be on the water at any given time. Now, this presents a little bit of a problem because you have landowners who have their own boat ramps. So maybe in their case, maybe they buy a pass. Maybe it's a summer pass or an annual pass. But the bottom line is you put a wildlife officer out there who's not only checking fishing licenses, but they're checking to see if you have a pass for that day. And if you don't, you get a fine. So from this money that's generated, and maybe it's almost nothing. Maybe it's a dollar to put your boat in. Maybe it's $5. I don't know. You know, I'm just shooting off the top here. I don't know how to do this except to say that if there were some way to pay to fish our lakes, it might provide the income or the money necessary to keep our lakes clean. And again, I would propose that the money that's generated from this type of pay to play or pay to fish, that the money then goes to a special fund where we employ people and their job is to go out and pick up the litter. That's one way that we might accomplish it. Um, we have some beautiful lakes and streams in this country. I mean, just drop dead gorgeous. But nothing detracts more from it than the trash that so many thoughtless people just throw out their car window, throw off the side of the boat. And believe me, you may think the little bit that you're throwing out doesn't amount to much, but it adds up. And if everybody thinks that way, the trash is only going to get worse. So that's my suggestion. There's probably smarter people out there than me that have thought about this. If you own land and you're one of the landowners around any of the lakes, I'm sure you've noticed all the trash. Even in this small lake behind my house, for some reason, the wind always pushes everything towards my dock. And I'll go out there day after day because I feed the bluegill right off my dock. And every day there's a Coke bottle, there's a plastic bottle, there's a can, there's a trash bag, there's something that the wind has pushed right into my dock. And I got to tell you, it pisses me off. I mean, where's this stuff coming from? Who's responsible for throwing it in the water? And why should I have to be the one to constantly clean up? So again, just my thoughts on the subject. You probably, have witnessed the same thing. Maybe you share my thinking. I don't know how hard it would be to implement any type of pay to play. Obviously, you'd either have to have somebody at the boat ramps, giving you a daily license, a daily ticket, collecting the money. Maybe you do it just like where you've got something that comes down and you put in $1 and you get a little stub and that's all you need. I don't know. There's got to be a way to do it, but it seems to me that it would generate enough cash that would then allow us to have the funds to do the cleanup necessary and to hire the additional officers if we needed them. Because I can tell you right now, we don't have enough game wardens. I know you heard that from me, but the truth is, I've always had a fishing license. I've always made sure my boat was registered. I've always made sure that I had insurance on my boat, that I carried a throwaway, life vest, that I carry the life vest. I have the horn, the whistle. I don't know what did I miss. Whatever I missed, I've got it all, and rightly so, because I did get a ticket one time because my fire extinguisher went bad. Now, I'm not making any excuses, but if they'd have checked me more often, they'd have probably given me more tickets, because I'm sure that that fire extinguisher was dead more than once, and other fire extinguishers have probably died on me, and I didn't even know it. 50 years is a long time to fish, and you could probably go through a lot of fire extinguishers that you never use, thank God, but eventually they do go bad. But my point is, in all these years down here in Florida, I'll bet I've only been checked 3 times. And that's not much, given the amount of times I've been on the water. But it's due, I'm sure, to the fact that we don't have enough game wardens. We've got 100+ lakes right here in this one county. And if you step down just a little farther south and you go to Okeechobee, Lake Okeechobee, that lake is the second largest lake in the United States. I don't know how many game wardens they have, but I have never been stopped on Lake Okeechobee. And it's such a huge body of water, I doubt that I ever will. So how do we impose something like this and make it work? Well, that's up to, the government officials, the city council, a lot of people that have some authority to be able to pull off something like that. There are other lakes throughout the United States and even here in Florida that charge to get on the lake. So that concept is not new. If we do something like that, if we were to do something like that, we've got to be careful not to let the politicians get a hold of this money because then it'll disappear. It's got to be earmarked, exactly for what the intention is, and that is keep the lakes clean and the surrounding area. So anyway, if you have any thoughts on the subject, I'd like to hear them. I've got a space down below to leave your comments. It just one guy's thinking, and sometimes I can get out to the lake and I see this trash around, and I just think, my God, what kind of a world do we live in? So if it upsets you, give me a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel, and I'm sure you'll hear me talk about it more in the future. Thanks for tuning in today, and I wish you a great day.